media entrepreneur based in California. She works as a geopolitical expert and is an award-winning international columnist and a member of the Forbes Council as the director of the Anya Institute. She hosts a popular show called the Preity Experience and is a radio and TV expert around the world. As a Dharma ambassador, she brings Indian spirituality to Hollywood and the world at large through a new platform, the Preity Life. Well, ladies, that was a long introduction. Thank you for being here. I want to welcome you from the bottom of my heart. I'm happy to be here with you today. And first of all, on this International Women's Day, I would like to hear from each of you because the topic this year is Break the Bias. In your professional life, have you been have you had to deal a lot with breaking that bias, with difficult moments? Maybe, Preeti, you can share a moment where you had like, okay, it's just because I'm a woman that I have to deal with this. And how did you overcome that? Because I think that can be very powerful for the people who are watching.
Well, thank you, Barbara, for that lovely introduction, and so nice to meet you, and lovely to meet you, Ivana, as well. I'm honored to be on this platform on this amazing day, the occasion
Yes.
of the International Women's Day. It's interesting. My whole career, I've always been in male-dominated industries, whether it was
Mm-hmm.
investment banking, consulting, or then when I gave that up and changed, even Hollywood, to be honest, the power
Mm-hmm.
positions are really all male. And then
Mm-hmm.
politics and media, it's all
Mm-hmm.
male. And it's been interesting. That has been my journey. However, I think I always had a good attitude and I was willing to hold my own, which is important, and
Mm-hmm.
be confident. And people really, I think, respected and supported me. I think
Mm-hmm.
from the in the political realm, some of the things that I do, I get called on as a I guess a political commentator on lots of
Mm-hmm.
news shows. So I'll be on a panel with five other people, but they're military generals or ambassadors, diplomats,
Mm-hmm.
twice my age. It's usually always only men, and I
Mm-hmm.
think to be able to um, hold my own, know what I'm talking about. It's been interesting. I was a little I was wondering how they would accept me and how
Mm-hmm.
they would perceive me, but I think as long as I do the research and know what I'm talking about and
Mm-hmm.
talk sense, I have to say the response has been really amazing. A lot of respect, and they uh, take what I say very seriously, and they take me very
Mm-hmm.
seriously, and they
Mm-hmm.
concur often some points that I've made, and it's such an amazing feeling to, I guess, for somebody of that stature to really respect you and respect what you bring to the table. So I think my advice would be know whatever knowledge or expertise
Mm-hmm.
you're in, your field you're in, try to be the best because I think you'll impress them with your knowledge.
Yes. And is there an advice that you would give your younger self?
Ooh, yes, I would say don't be afraid. Don't
Yeah.
think, oh my God, who am I? What am I doing
Yeah.
here? No, don't think that
Mm-hmm.
because they're not thinking that. They're
Yeah.
quite excited to have you or anybody there, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest. And what I've learned from people who are older and wiser, who have seen war and who have seen conflict and everything,
Mm-hmm.
they're very human and they see through
Mm-hmm.
people and they just want to connect and express
Yes.
themselves and they really appreciate having young or old anybody there who's sincere, and come
Yes,
to
that
them.
is authenticity.
Yeah, so
Yes.
my advice would be be fearless and just
Yes.
know who
Be
you
fearless.
are and be
Beautiful.
yourself.
Yes. Well, Ivana, maybe you can share with us if you have been confronted with certain bias, if you have had maybe difficult moments that you had to really pull some strength from yourself to overcome bias.
First of all, I would like to thank you, Barbara, for introduction. It's very nice to meet you both today, and I'm very glad to be in your company.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say pretty much that I would share the same, almost same opinion with the Preity that you say
Mm-hmm.
about how you. Achieve that people recognized you
Mm-hmm.
not only as a woman but with your quality and your knowledge and your experience. But
Mm-hmm.
I think we both know, we all know that we need the time
Yes.
to
To
get
build,
there,
to
to
build
build
that
to
expertise.
build
Yes.
ourselves, to get
Mm-hmm.
there and to be that woman that we want.
Yes.
And all my life I had different, I was working on a TV station
Mm-hmm.
also. I'm a director and editor,
Mm-hmm.
video editor also. It's my first love, but the second love is of course different cultures and intercultural
Mm-hmm.
communication. And I traveled a lot, and I wanted to tell that every time I travel, I wanted to actually add to what you said, Pretty, that yeah, we need to um, try to be recognized
Mm-hmm.
from men's society, because we live in a
Yes.
men's
Yes.
society. But also in many occasions it happens that women are those who need to recognize
Yeah.
each other.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
that we need to work on that
Yes.
particular thing also.
Also, I think we have like several biases. First of all, we have the bias against
Yes.
ourselves. Like Pretty said, like sometimes you're your own biggest critic, which only adds to the doubt and insecurity. Then we have the cultural bias, which is the man society, the old boys club, man's. And then we have the biases of other women who might see us as competition or as, like that's another
Yes.
bias. So it's multi layered. Those biases are multi layered. And I think both of you have just said that the more confident you become, the better you feel in your own skin, the less those biases have an effect on you, because it's as if you have gone beyond that, and you can even recognize it in other people. You see through which filter they're talking to you, and you're
Yeah.
in a compassionate way, you could say, even as being the bigger person, you see, okay, that's the frame of thinking that they start from. That's okay, but we don't have to mold ourselves into their frame. We can stay close to ourselves and speak up in a kind and gentle way, like what setting healthy boundaries in things we accept and don't accept. So I would like to hear from both of you if you have particular role models, female role models who had a big impact on you. Preeti, maybe you can start.
Well, that's a great question. Firstly, my mother, of course,
Uh-huh.
beyond all the other leaders,
Uh-huh.
great entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
even world
Yes.
leaders out there. My mother has had a great impact on me. Both my
Mm-hmm.
parents had a great effect on me. They always taught me how to, uh, that I could be anything I wanted, and
Mm-hmm.
that nothing would stop me, and certainly not my
Uh-huh.
gender or where I
Mm-hmm.
come from or any of that stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
that's good. But beyond my
Yes.
own parents, definitely, I've had male and female role
Yes.
models. And business, I mean, there are some amazing CEOs out there,
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs. Not just the famous ones, but I think the everyday with the small business owners that you interact with,
Yes.
and maybe it's a single mother doing it, or
Yes.
a younger girl who set
Mm-hmm.
up her own business, and I think that's very inspiring. And
Mm-hmm.
beyond business, there's spiritual, political thought
Yes.
leaders as well. I try to take some wisdom from everyone. So
Mm-hmm.
I think so many people have really influenced me, and I get something from any really evolved or great person that I encounter. I feel very blessed.
Yes, that's a very beautiful attitude. Maybe Ivana, you can add who
I
your
would, yeah, I would say that I think that most of the daughters have their mother as a
uh-huh,
role model. So I would say also the same here, same for
mm-hmm,
me. And I was thinking about role models like a famous one. And
mm-hmm,
then I realized that actually I wouldn't say real life model, but
mm-hmm.
small
Yes.
role models, like those small people that we don't know, that we they are not famous, but I met
Uh-huh.
them during my job, or
Mm-hmm,
my travels, or I work with them.
mm-hmm,
So those women that had they have everyday struggle and fighting, and
mm-hmm.
uh,
Absolutely.
they need to do something to achieve what they want, and they
Mm-hmm,
struggle on most amazing way. I met a mother that her child was born. They told her that her daughter will never walk because
mm-hmm,
some disease of muscles or something.
mm-hmm,
And she is a doctor, and she told me, I was just afraid that her brain was damaged, but her brain
mm-hmm,
wasn't damaged. So she for next 20 years she devoted herself to
mm-hmm,
give everything for her daughter to have a normal life. Today
mm-hmm,
her daughter, if she didn't told me that it was
mm-hmm,
that sick
uh-huh,
daughter that she had, I will never guess. She is
mm-hmm,
now that daughter. She is now married woman,
mm-hmm,
businesswoman. She is a mother of two children. So she gave up for everything for that daughter
mm-hmm.
to have normal life. So
Mm-hmm.
those women and
Yes.
are role models for me.
Absolutely. Those everyday superheroes. You can say they
Yeah.
don't come on television, they are not so famous, but they can develop a strength that we all are in awe, that we say like, whoa, that's really a superhero. Yes, I love that. I love that. And I love what Pretty said, like it's all the pieces of the people you meet, like you have so many people who add a piece, and you're like, you remember a conversation, you remember seeing someone modeling a kind
Yes.
of way of being, that just in witnessing it, that it impacted you. So it's really a lot. It's a lot of little pieces which really make that puzzle.
Yes, that's
um
true. And they are not the similar or the same.
no.
Now you remind me that I met 15 years ago amazing lady. She is a
Mm-hmm,
professor and she is a writer here in Croatia, but
mm-hmm,
she traveled a lot, and
mm-hmm,
she teach in Australia, and she traveled to United States and then lived in London and in Paris, and
mm-hmm,
I met her in Italy. So
mm-hmm,
we talk a lot, and spirit that she have. So she's so free,
mm-hmm,
so you know she achieved that she is herself. Whatever
mm-hmm,
she is doing because she wants that and she like it, and she lives her life great. And I was
mm-hmm.
in that moment, I was so admire her.
Uh-huh. That freedom of spirit.
Yeah, yeah,
That's powerful. People who live really who broke free, you could say, who live with that freedom of spirit. And then
yeah.
I have a question. which I think is essential if we're talking about women empowerment, about gender balance, about gender equity. It's men as our allies, because in long tradition of feminism, the man has at a certain time been seen as the enemy, and I never liked that. Personally, I never have seen a man as an enemy. I work in a male dominated environment too. I have always loved to work with men, but I have also encountered situations, not in work but outside work, where I felt the bias, and I felt that there was a difficulty. So how can we? What do you think about the allyship with man, Preeti? Maybe you can.
Yeah, that's such an important point when we speak about women empowerment, feminism, parity. Uh, we cannot forget the other, or else we're doing the same thing that we are
Yes,
trying to
absolutely.
fix. We are
Yes,
as culpable, and
yes.
I think it's definitely the first step is seeing the other as a friend and an ally, and not
Yes.
seeing them as the enemy or somebody that we have to compete with,
Mm-hmm.
or somebody that we have to sort of demote almost to kind of put
Mm-hmm.
ourselves up or give ourselves that
Mm-hmm.
opportunity. And I think the feminism movement, at some point, they have kind of strayed away from the path,
Yes.
I think, to the ultimate goal. So I
Mm-hmm.
hope that they sort of get back on track. I think what
Yes.
the world needs right now, especially post-COVID, is a more evolved form of feminism where
Absolutely.
we keep our real feminine, the feminine essence, which is actually what men love, right? They
Yes.
don't want you to be like them. They don't want you to
No.
think
No.
and talk like them. They actually love the soft, vulnerable, the
Mm-hmm.
beautiful aesthetic. That's what they like. So
And isn't it
yeah,
like that,
so I
Pretty,
would-
that that's more like energy? Some
yes,
men even have like quite some female energy, and some women have more male energy, and that's okay. And maybe that's a more evolved way of
yes,
looking into it. We're human beings, we have those poles within us, male, female. Some have more female, others have more male. Traditionally, like women have more the female energy,
yes,
but it's not like so, just
it should,
like go beyond labels and
yes.
go beyond the boxes we like to put each other in.
Yeah, it's the yin and yang, really, and
Yes,
together they have the union, and that's where the magic
yes,
really happens.
yes,
So I think
yes,
that's such an important step, and also beyond that, I think we need to see other women as allies too. I think that is
yes,
equally important
yes,
because
yes,
we also see them as women. So to be honest, it's a double whammy, right? We're
yes,
competing with actually with
absolutely.
everybody, and the only person you should be competing with is yourself to be the best that you can
Hmm.
be. That's
Hmm.
all, right?
Yes,
Everything else is just it's just an illusion. It's your
absolutely.
illusion
And
and
we
perception
we
of
can
competition.
achieve so much more in connection, in collaboration, instead of competition. I think that's also an evolution the world needs, instead of the model of competition, going to connection and collaboration. We have seen where competition brought us. It's almost to our destruction, and going to that connection. And maybe Ivana, you can maybe say some about that man allyship, that connectedness.
Yes, I can't agree more with Preeti on this topic, but also with you, Barbara, because I just wrote today on my social network
Uh-huh.
this difference between male and female dimension of culture.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, of course, that we are different, and I
Mm-hmm.
agree with Preeti that we are not. I hope we are not want to be the same as
No,
males.
no,
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 let them
no.
be strong. Let them be males. But we are also we can be the strong women also.
Woman,
So. Uh,
absolutely.
So the difference is that in a male culture dimension of
Mm-hmm.
culture, as a male culture, um, everything is competitive, everything
Mm-hmm.
is for achievement, for
Mm-hmm.
the money, for material things,
Mm-hmm.
and when you look at the society that have this female
Mm-hmm.
dimension, um, we are like weavers. We take our net
Yes.
and first we do connections, then
Yes.
we think about others, and then we think
Mm-hmm.
about solidarity, and then
Mm-hmm.
um, we don't negotiate like um, win-lose situation.
Yes.
We try to do win-win. So in
Mm-hmm.
this particular time, when we have all those world events that we are
Mm-hmm.
looking every day, I think that more society with a female dimension will be
Absolutely.
much more better than.
You
Hmm.
could say there's an imbalance now,
Yes.
a very heavy imbalance
Yeah,
with all that focus on power, on money, on greed, really that male energy, but has which has no longer balance and which has brought the world in the state that it is now. So we really have to rebalance with
yeah, I
kindness,
agree.
compassion, connectedness, collaboration, and bring that, like, and bring also that power of vulnerability, because what we see with man so often, it's even the fear of being vulnerable. They
Yes.
don't have to be strong all of the time. They don't have to wear that mask of strength. If they have difficult, that's okay. It makes it even more powerful, but it makes it more human too.
Yeah, I'm glad that I think in society that we start to realize that we
Yes.
don't need to act as men.
Yes.
We just need to be women as we are, and to
Mm-hmm.
let them to be what they are. And
Yes.
according this, then we can make actually some balance, and
Mm-hmm.
I think we can make much more in society and on every level, because I think feminism till, I don't know, 60s 70s, it was like, oh, we can do, if they can
Yes, we
make
can do too.
100 push-ups, we can make 101. So
Yes, yes.
it's
No,
not
it's
like
not
that.
about that. But
Yeah,
maybe we have to look in history where they come from. 100 years ago, I just read Virginia Woolf this morning. She could not enter a library on her own.
yeah.
So they needed that force
Yes.
first, like to speak up very loudly, just to break that enormous wall that was made for them. And now we have broken that wall. And now it's really to reach out our hand and say, let's do this together.
Yes.
And I noticed that more and more women become, here in Croatia. It's a very trendy
Mm-hmm.
to become a part of some business women club.
Mm-hmm.
So where the women helps
Yes,
others to become
support.
a
Yes,
businesswoman or to
absolutely.
achieve their goals,
Mm-hmm.
or so more and more those connections, and I think
Yes,
that it's our strength.
Yes.
absolutely. Pretty, maybe you can add.
Yeah, and also, what's going on in the world. We're seeing
Mm-hmm.
a shift in the balance of power globally.
Yes,
There's
yes,
a new world order coming, which is
yes,
that is the way things go. It'll never
yes.
be constant. New
No.
powers will come, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
also seeing with that there is now a new way of being, a new way of doing business. Power, empowerment,
Mm-hmm.
leadership is going to look
Yes.
a little different now, which is good. I think we need it, and I think this feminism component of it is very, very important, because as we are asking the women to sort of man up more, what we're also doing is we're asking the guys to soften down a lot.
Yes,
So there's
yes.
really, it's lopsided, and it's just that they've switched, but
Hmm.
it's not good. It's as bad as before. So we're seeing that. I think we need to let people be themselves there, and and
And
understand that together, that's really when things come together and we can achieve so much more. And
yes,
it's
absolutely.
beautiful, the masculine and the
Hmm.
feminine, they're both
Yes,
beautiful forms of energy, and they
yes.
should both be harnessed.
Mhm. I think the three of us, we live in areas where we are quite privileged. I have heard someone earlier today say, like, she's in Egypt, and was she working? She has a lot of still remarks like, "Oh, you're pretty. You just have to shut up. You don't have, like." So for those women who are still in cultures which have still the most, like the heavier biases yet to deal with, what would you say to them? Or what would you, how can we support those women?
I lived in Egypt for 6 months,
Hmm.
and I was thinking about that a lot because
Hmm.
every time we speak about feminism or
Hmm.
rights, women
Women's
rights, or
rights, yes.
yeah, we're talking about those countries that don't have it. So
Hmm.
I lived there for Egypt is actually much more liberal than other Islamic
Yes, I
countries.
don't want, like, I don't want to label any country here. It was
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
something that I heard. It can be as well any other country, was just an example.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the what you say, it's happening much worse in other countries.
Right.
But
Yes, yes.
here, my experience in Egypt, it was like I worked with Egyptians, male.
Hmm.
But every time when the phone was ringing,
Hmm.
they were answering on the phone, and it was Ayva. It means yes on in Egyptian.
Yes.
So he was like Ayva, 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 and from opposite side you can hear blah, 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 blah. And I would ask, okay, what is happening? Is it
Uh-huh.
your wife? And he would say, yes, yes, yes. She find new curtain, and she would like to buy it. She went there with my sister and her sisters, and
Uh-huh.
I need to work more and more and more.
Mm.
um, I don't think I was thinking, of course, that
Hmm.
uh, there is a violence everywhere in the
Hmm.
world
Yes.
against women, even in my country. And
Hmm.
then I realize all those women that lives in another in a different culture than that we live
Hmm.
in. So I don't think I believe in them. So when they were are going to be ready, they
Yes.
will make changes.
Hmm.
And I think for us is for me,
Hmm.
it's to look in my house, to look in my yard, to
Yes.
look in my neighborhood and make change,
Yes.
and to look
Yes.
in my country, because we in my country we had last year we had a
Hmm.
political accident, a political scandal that one politician beat his wife, and
Hmm.
it was all in the newspaper, but he wasn't punished. There was no
Okay.
punishment for that. He is a
Hmm.
still politician. He is on a high level
Hmm.
place, and he's divorced now. But that's the only sanction. So if we're
Hmm.
talking about how to treat women, I think that we can make change if we start from our home.
Yes.
And I think for those
Absolutely.
women in different culture, I would say, the apple is still green. It's not red. It's not
Yeah.
ready. When they were
Yes.
ready, I believe in them.
Yes. Absolutely. And I strongly believe, like, being that role model day after day in your own family. for your own children, for the people around you. It all starts there. Pretty, maybe you
Yeah,
share
and
something on that.
also adding to that, feminism is different in different countries.
Yes.
You're right. When we are, America or Europe, we're talking about these things, or whether it's Me Too or
Uh-huh.
all
Yes.
these fights that we have. It's different in different cultures. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, what I've noticed when I go back to India, which is where I'm
Mm-hmm.
from, and I notice Indian women, they that sort of feminism hasn't sort of corrupted them yet, because they still have their femininity, right? So
Yes.
they are still powerful and strong, and more and more of them are educated now, and they work,
Mm-hmm.
but they wear the sari. They still want to
Yes.
look pretty and feminine.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually like that aspect a lot, that
Mm-hmm.
they know their roles, or at least the
Mm-hmm.
women, they take a lot of pride in their feminine essence. And I
Yes.
would hate for them to lose that in this
Mm-hmm.
Western sort of pursuit of equality. I think you have to
Mm-hmm.
find a balance somewhere where you find real power, where
Mm-hmm.
you don't give up these beautiful traditions. Because I think when I look at American women, I think in some cases it's a little far gone, or it's gone too far. It's hard to sort of pull it back. But you go to some Asian countries, and they still have it, and it's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. I think they should keep that
Mm-hmm.
aspect, and add to the other areas, and then find a form of power and empowerment that really works for their society.
Mm-hmm.
Different regions are different. I think Africa and Middle East are more
Mm-hmm.
different, but I can at least say, as
And
far as India goes,
m-
yeah,
maybe we are heavily biased because
yes,
the example that Ivana gave me, those women have a lot of power. If
yes,
the man is like so docile and he's like,
yeah,
yes, 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 and so I,
it's true.
our, like, because we don't see these women on the street or running businesses, or we think that they are all at home docile, but that's only our Western bias.
Yeah,
Many of them run the household in a very powerful way and have even sometimes more
yeah,
powerful than the man in the household. So maybe it's also by we are, like the filter we look through
Yes.
it. We think we are so like evolved and empowered,
yeah.
and maybe because we don't live there, we miss the essence of how the relationships are working there.
Yeah,
Well,
from the sorry.
go ahead, go ahead.
Thank you. From the point of intercultural communication,
Mm-hmm.
we need to realize, we need to start from that our culture and the life that we are
Mm-hmm.
living are good for us. But
Mm-hmm.
maybe for other countries, they have the way of life that is good for them. And it's
For
the
them.
same um, how to say the same thing as we feel for our lives, they feel for their. So
Yes.
if they need to change it, they will change it.
Mm-hmm.
I will. For example, I can see in China
Mm-hmm.
this female feminism because during the 50s, 60s,
Yes,
all
cultural
women
revolution.
try to be like men. They work hard. They even
Mm-hmm.
work very hard
Mm-hmm.
jobs on the street, on
Mm-hmm.
construction building, just to prove that they are the same as a man. And now I met many Chinese that become very feminine
Mm-hmm.
and they think about makeup, like perfume. If you go back 30 years ago, they didn't.
Mm-hmm. If we, because you could say that's all outside,
Yeah,
is the essence of it all, isn't it the mutual respect and love?
yes, yes,
Yes.
Absolutely.
whether it's from a woman to a man or a woman, whether it's even in your professional life. That's the foundation, the mutual respect, the mutual, you could say, kindness to another human being. If we
Yeah.
can
Absolutely.
have that foundation, you could say gender becomes irrelevant. We are who we are in our femininity or in our masculinity, but just having that deep respect that there's no gender placed, there's no hierarchy in the gender. We're just different. And if we can fully, like be ourselves in that difference and complement, then we can have a very beautiful, you could say, dance almost.
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
dance.
It's the dance of the Shiva Shakti, the yin yang,
Yes,
which is
yes,
what makes everything work. Absolutely. And just to your point earlier, globally around the world, the woman is always the boss. When she after marriage, the woman is the boss. Every man in the world knows this. If you ask a married man who's the boss, he
yes,
will say
yes,
he could be the CEO,
absolutely.
and he'll be like, in my house, my wife is the boss, and that's
Yes,
how it
that's
is.
true.
And they know that, and she knows that. They may not have
Yes.
to publicly say it, but because
No,
it,
no, no, but you're right.
yeah, because 85% of all purchases just around the world are made by women. And this is whether it's in India or America, it's the same thing.
Uh-huh.
And all, even advertisers, they're really pitching to this woman who's going to go out and
Uh-huh.
buy things for the home. So that's really where the purchasing power is. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah,
Yes.
it's about also accepting your, you might be a woman who's a little bit more masculine, or you might be a man who's a bit more effeminate, accepting yourself, and then so
Yes.
you can accept others as well, because we are
Mm-hmm.
all born a certain way, we have a makeup, it's, you can't change that, and
Yes.
you shouldn't have to like lose yourself in order to be successful. So
No,
Yeah, and
absolutely.
to trying to be something else, somebody else.
yeah,
I
Yes.
think that we need to develop more and more women that just trying to be themselves, because we need to think about that. Okay, they are boss in the house after they get married, for sure, but then they are also mothers, and
Mm-hmm.
they have sons,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh, yes.
also
Very
daughters,
important topic, Ivana.
also
Very.
daughters. And I was last week, one of my friends from one neighboring country here in Croatia sent me some link with songs, very popular
Mm-hmm.
songs in her country and my country. And she told me, can you listen words? Because all women are singing about hurt me, I like it.
Oh,
I like the way it
oh my
hurts,
God.
or whatever you do, I will love you, or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. So it's a question what women are doing to women
Mm-hmm.
with that message. And those women are also mothers, and they
Mm-hmm.
are talking like that to their daughters or sons. And we need to change this, I think.
Yes, absolutely. And I think there's also quite a challenge. I'm a mother of three, and I have two daughters, one of 22 and one of 21. That's the whole Instagram generation. How they, and I can only applaud the brands who have different types of women, that it's not only the one with the very slim size who's at the beach, really having like whatever size you have, whatever color, whatever hair color, be the biggest gift you can give yourself is just feeling like 100% as you are. And we all know that adolescence is a very fragile time to build your self image. And maybe Pretty, you can um, talk a little bit about that, like that young girl who's 16, who's watching her Instagram and who feels so insecure.
Yeah, I think as great as technology is, especially social media for connecting and bringing the
Yes.
world together, they have done a real disservice in these areas, mental health issues,
Yes.
self-confidence, self-image.
Mm-hmm.
I think the teenage girls are the most affected
Yes.
ones, and they're the
Mm-hmm.
victims of this. And Instagram is certainly the worst of all of these
Yes.
portals. So it's I mean, high school is hard enough,
Yes.
and being a teenager is hard enough. On top of that,
Yes.
you're seeing pictures of women who it's all photoshopped.
Yes.
Those women don't
Yes.
even look like that, and
Yes.
you're seeing this photo and you think, do I need to look like that to even be accepted?
Yeah.
That's not the case at
Mm-hmm.
all, but that's what
Mm-hmm.
society is showing you, that's what media is
Mm-hmm.
telling you. And a 16-year-old girl will absolutely believe that, and then that's
Mm-hmm.
where all of these, whether it's eating disorders or depression,
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of things, serious mental health issues, I would say, they're cropping
Mm-hmm.
up. It's global. It
Yes.
happens all everywhere you can imagine. I think
Mm-hmm.
no place is safe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think brands and also the media outlets themselves
Yes.
really need to uh, not promote this kind of
No.
culture.
No.
It's not healthy, and you need
No.
people who are comfortable in who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And you know,
Yes.
it, I think we've lost the innocence. That's what we've lost.
Yes.
Even someone
Yes.
who's 12 they've grown up too quickly, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not like when I was growing up. There was still this idea of innocence well until
Uh-huh.
your late teens
Mm-hmm.
and early 20s even maybe, and now you just don't see that. And it's worse
No.
in the West, but around the world it's
I
sort of
think around the world.
morphing. And I think companies, brands, parents, social media outlets have a responsibility to make sure that
Absolutely.
society doesn't go down the wrong track.
Mm-hmm.
Because values, the values are changed. Today, what we have, what the adults give to the children, that they
Mm-hmm.
are going to. I'm talking about Croatian society, and
Yeah.
I think that in many countries is
Mm-hmm.
similar. So we are sending a message that you become successful if you have a great car, a great mobile
Absolutely.
phone, great a lot of money, of course.
Yes.
School,
Lots of followers.
Yeah,
yes,
lots
a
of
lot of
followers.
followers, and or funny YouTube channel or something like that, and I think
It's
it's
an
not.
outdated paradigm. It's a paradigm which our parents had because they all wanted us to go to college. We all had to have that degree. We all had to, like fit into that same mold of whether it was, once we had the title, we had to marry. We had, like because unmarried they didn't like either. So it was the title, the marriage, the job, the house, the car, and that was like we were told a lie because they told then you have happiness, but that's a lie.
That's a lie.
Like it's not the title, it's
Yeah.
not the marriage, it's not the car, and it's not the house who brings that. It's something that we have been brainwashed with,
Yes.
and it's up to us, like up to us to say no, it's here, it's in your word, in what you have to offer, like you are the rosebud, let you blossom, like don't want to be a tulip if you're a rose,
Mhm.
and there's an orchid, and there's, like there's an oak tree, and there's a birch, and we each blossom in its own way. But we have made like, oh, it's only tulips are beautiful. So if you're born as a rose, well, you're unhappy your entire life because you think you don't fit in. Hello, Alina, welcome to the conversation. um,
No.
Hello, I'm very happy to have you here. Maybe I'll introduce you shortly to people who are watching and to Preity and Ivana. Um, Alina is the founder of Avantera Consultant for downstream space applications, human development, and IT sectors. She's a part of the executive board at Women Plus in geospatial, CIC, and executive committee member at the Space Generation Advisory Council in support of the UN. editor at British Cartographic Society, Geospatial Services, and Startup Advisor. Welcome. Happy to have you here. We had already a very captivating conversation as well. Preity as Ivana have brought their perspective, which is I could say in a very evolved, like a very large perspective. It's not short-sighted. It's very interesting and added a lot to the conversation. So Alina, maybe I would like to listen to you first. If you have maybe a story you can share with us in did you have to overcome bias at a certain point in your life? And how did you do it if you had to do it? And how what facet of yourself did you have to develop to overcome that? Oh, I don't hear you. Do you hear her, Alina?
No, no, no. I
I
still no.
You're muted. I see you're muted. No, we don't hear you. Maybe it's your headphones. I don't know.
No, we still not
No,
hear you.
no, no. I see her mute. I see your mute button. Maybe it's the headphones. I have had
I think
people who
ahead.
have problems with their head. Yes, I think it's your headphones. Um, no, we don't hear you. Um, but maybe I will continue with Preity and Ivana then, because I had something that I wanted to discuss too. It's the pandemic and the post-pandemic, and if you have seen changes in maybe in the gender conversation, or maybe on a larger cultural, social aspect.
Well,
What is the biggest changes you have seen?
there's been a lot of positive things that have come out of
Yes.
the pandemic, and I think one of that is people are now able to sort of start a show or write more or speak more and record something and put it out there in a way that they couldn't. So that has the opportunity to express yourself, I think, has actually grown. So now you can be in some little town in some, in some other country and reach out to the world. So that's like been a
The
really good.
creativity.
Absolutely. And the opportunity, I think,
Yes.
to put yourself online and now the whole world can see because everybody is online because there's no office to go to or
Yes.
there's nobody's really, they can't go out. So it's been great for creativity. It's been great for people to, like sort of introduce themselves digitally, I would say. And women are doing this. You're seeing young girls, you're seeing women, they're starting podcasts, they're writing a book, they're speaking, they're writing, they're collaborating with others. Or coming up with products. I think it's been really good. I've seen a lot of women sort of get into the workforce or the space
Yes.
in a way
Community
where they didn't
building.
before. So I think that's been definitely it's been positive. And now that hopefully the pandemic will finally end, and
Yes.
I don't think we'll ever go back to how it was. It's sort of
No.
really a new reality. But
Yes.
I hope that we keep what we have learned and only move forward. And we shouldn't go back to. People shouldn't feel like they're silenced or now they can't compete in the global stage. I think everybody has a great shot to do that. So people should just, I think, keep pushing themselves and keep aiming for greatness.
Yes. That's beautiful.
I think that pandemia reset us and
Reset button.
yes, make us to think what we did, what we achieved, and where we are going. And for many people, it was like we needed to stop. and
Yes.
to recalculate our lives.
Uh-huh.
And I think that it's many people find this period very spiritual because
Yes.
they
Maybe it was an occasion to question that paradigm that we just talked about.
Yeah.
To question, is this what we really want? To
Yeah.
race from morning till night, being a slave
Hmm.
of our career or of money? Is that it? So it made us a pause, like there was the pause button,
Hmm.
and everybody
yes,
could breathe and think.
Absolutely.
yeah, I agree. It was
So
very
let's not forget let's not forget that we had that opportunity, and that we keep it in mind,
Yeah.
that we don't go back to the race and the
Yeah.
competition and the exhaustion, that we just keep the, like what we learned from it,
Yeah.
I
and
think it
even
will.
move on, like take it further.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that we will the most people that feel like reset and that they rethinking about the way
Mhm.
they live their lives, that I think that they will not go back
No,
and to become more stressful
no,
and
absolutely.
wanted more and more. Yeah, of course, wanted more, but different style. I think that.
Different style, plus more in alignment, as we said, like with the rose who is flourishing. It's not like the rose at its own pace, let it flourish and not force. Like now we had that meant we have to force quicker, more. And what we have is companies who exhausted people, who, like it was only stock value which was important. They was so greed based
Hmm.
that it was just, like so exhausting. And having taken that step back, let's hope that it's a lesson for bigger corporations too.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
it's not that we need that we have in our mind and in our head, oh, we must do that and we
No.
need to do that, and it's very
Yeah.
stressful, and then I will drink a lots of pill for
Yes.
anti-stress
Uh-huh.
pills. No, I don't need anything, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't need to do anything. Just
Beautiful.
what make me happy and what
Yes.
make me full. And if
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy and I'm full, I'm very successful in what I'm doing,
Yes.
I
And you
think.
can share it.
That's true. And
Yeah.
also because there's so much, uh, I guess transformation out there. People
Mm-hmm.
are transitioning, and so it made everybody realize that nothing is forever. Life is
Yes.
futile. Time is fleeting.
Yes.
So
Yes.
all we have is the present, and to be
Mm-hmm.
alive is a gift. And
Absolutely.
the only goal you must have as a human being is to find your purpose and live it, right?
Yes.
So I think
Yes.
this pandemic has really forced people to contemplate on that. And
Mm-hmm.
people are waking up in so many ways. I know for me personally, I really had
Mm-hmm.
time to ask myself, is this really what I
Mm-hmm.
wanted? And where
Mm-hmm.
am I in terms of my purpose, my dharma, and how
Mm-hmm.
far am I? Am I going on the right track? And I have
Mm-hmm.
repositioned myself quite a bit. So
Mm-hmm.
it's
That's beautiful.
I'm so glad
That's
the universe
beautiful.
forced me to do that, and
Uh-huh.
I'm better for it now.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And I think that's a quite general thing you hear amongst people, that really that reset, that recalibrate. Um, and I think also if you look in work environments, like it has become so much more important, that stress on mental health, that stress on more empathy, compassion. It's really a wave which start, and we cannot stop it anymore. So even if there are like larger corporations who would like to stop it again and go back to the old model, the wave has started.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, well, ladies, I would like to thank you for a very captivating conversation. Um, It was really a joy and a pleasure to talk to you, to listen to you, and to be in your company today. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Barbara. And I'm very glad that I met you all and
Yes,
Alina also. I
I
yes.
don't
hope
know
you
if.
now can hear me.
Ah, yes,
Oh,
yes.
Yes,
yes,
I'm
now we
here.
can.
Yes, but in fact,
Okay.
thank you so much. I will not go on the discussions with the entire journey I had, but indeed it was really insightful this year, in fact, and this today, to go and talk about breaking the bias and try to understand, in fact, that where woman is, there also is magic happening,
Oh,
and we are
always.
so needed everywhere. We see all these humanitarian
Absolutely.
requirements,
Absolutely.
aids, and so on, but also on the leadership side, we need to raise
Mm-hmm.
more and more the need of women to step up on their career, their profession, but also is not only talking about our men allies that we need, but also stepping up on acting more on
Mm-hmm.
taking action when we say we can support, we put our money where our mouth is. So it's really
Yes.
important to take action on our ideas, because our
Mm-hmm.
dreams as woman dreams are for everyone. We don't look
Mm-hmm.
only on community side, but we look on everyone's benefit, on our community's development, and it's really important to step up together, because only together we
Mm-hmm.
can thrive.
Yes, absolutely. And I love how you say, where's the woman, there's magic. That is absolutely true. Women in leadership, absolutely. If we look at a lot of world leaders, they are surrounded mainly by men. I think about one particular leader who is surrounded by, like white males 50 plus. So it's we need the balance. We need the entire it's imbalance now. That it's as simple as that. And if we bring the female voice, the female energy, our the wisdom, we have a female, a deep, almost goddess wisdom, you could say, that we naturally carry. We have carried children, we have raised children, our sons become leaders. So we have a natural wisdom within us. And as often the wise are sometimes too long too quiet,
Yes,
and
yes,
Yeah.
it's up to that wise voice who has to become louder, say, listen, we have something to add here too, we have something to say too, which can bring, like, restore that balance.
yes, yes. And we have
True.
to we have to carry on speaking up, not
Yes.
only for ourselves, but also if we
Yes,
see this problem happening around us, just speak up as well
absolutely.
for others and try to take
Mm-hmm.
that voice on if you see that they aren't there, but also becoming more comfortable with the uncomfortable. So when we
Mm-hmm.
want to take to have that conversation higher up,
Yes.
just have it. don't
Yes.
don't don't wait for someone else to do it for
No.
you, or consider that maybe tomorrow someone will write about me. Write that article about yourself, and
Uh-huh.
even take on the discussion for dawn, dare to disagree as well, because it is very important that your opinion is as well heard about
Mm-hmm.
community, or as well friends, when you
Absolutely.
have discussions between your friends. And it's not a problem to be difficult either. So if you
No.
speak up with your passion about what you
Mm-hmm.
see, about what you want to do in the world, you'll find the allies that or the group of
Absolutely.
people that will have that a like mind, let's say.
Yes. I love what Preeti said in the beginning, what she would say her younger self, be fearless. Let's all
Yes,
be fearless.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, we can end with all, like promising to each other, we'll be fearless.
Yes. That's a good promise.
Yes.
Okay.
I love that.
Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
contributing. And I wish you all an amazing rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.